So when did manhood or being a man become an offense, become offensive? Since when do I have to walk on eggshells to kind of hide my manhood, to kind of hide the real man that I strive to be, that I aim to be, that I was a young boy tried to become? And now we get shunned if we're not showing off our sensitive side or succumbing to the trends of pronouns. And I am not the judge. I don't judge anyone else if you identify as a banana, if you have a feminine side, if you believe you're gay. You do you, right? But why in that process is society flipping the coin? Why is it a bad thing? Why does it feel like a bad thing? Why can we not just be ourselves and be men? Why is the minority, or the majority in this case, now becoming like shunned upon? Or you got yours and you're you and just live with it, but nobody wants to see it. Nobody wants to hear it. Nobody validates manhood. I got news for you. Literally the beginning of the original sin that started the whole problem, that brought Jesus to the earth and his crucifixion and changed the world from there, started by the only two people in existence, the only two human beings in existence on earth, screwed that order up. God clearly states, starting from Genesis, that it is God, creator of all things, including us, man to do multiple things for his wife and the kingdom that God has given him, but still be under God. And a lot of this is in Ephesians. I think it's chapter 5, Ephesians chapter 5. And I might even touch on that. Below him is the woman, his wife, to be his companion, to be his supporter, and then support each other. But just as God is in control of Adam, but Adam is under God, the same relationship should go for the man and the woman. And under the woman is the beast. It's the cattle, the serpent. Every creature that crawls on the earth has been given under us for us to care for and utilize in the way that it's designed. But the point is, from the beginning, there is an order. We all cannot be equal. We all cannot be the same thing. We all can't have babies. We all can't be big and strong and win battles and do heavy things like chop down trees and make firewood. So God understood that the part of equality that many egotistical fleshly humans today don't understand is that we're not equal. I wish I was the smartest guy in the world. I wish I was the strongest guy in the world. I'm not either of those, right? But I'm still a man. So God says, God, man, woman, beast. Well, what happened in the garden? Where was God when Eve was kind of listening to the serpent, curious about the fruit and the wisdom that comes with it and what it would be like to be like God? She obviously believed in him. He made her. So it wasn't about faith. She wasn't an atheist. She was disobedient. And that caused the beginning of the greatest sin of all mankind. But look at the order. The beast at the top, influencing and manipulating Eve, who is the woman, now above the man, because intentionally and purposefully and realistically, Adam was silent. He wasn't even leading that. It was Eve influencing him, which I think still happens today. And then Adam taking what she had to give him and breaking God's law and eating that. And under all of them, the last to really have a say in this situation was God. So the order was completely flipped, and it's no coincidence that God's order of divinity and a perfect world was flipped literally on its head. Instead of God, man, woman, beast, it was beast, woman, man, God. If that doesn't let you know that there has to be a very particular pecking order, I don't know what will. I am not God. I obey God. I'm obedient to God. I follow God. I worship God because I know my position under him. But I've also been married for 20 years because I use those same divine principles through prayer and obedience and faith and my actions to care and love and honor my wife. But I'm still the head of household over her. I still have a job to do. It doesn't mean I'm better than her. In fact, anyone who knows us, including me, knows that she's 1,000 times smarter than me. She's better at everything that you can possibly think of than me, except for something that involves immense power and strength. That's it. We're talking pickle jars and Stanley cups or the thermoses. And we have the best relationship. But listen to Ephesians 5:28. So husbands ought to love their wives as their own bodies, and he who loves his wife loves himself. Right? So if you're a terrible egotistical man and you're disrespecting, abusing mentally, physically, spiritually, emotionally your wife, and you think you love yourself, you're lying to somebody, right? Because if you truly did, you would honor her. So the man being above in a spiritual sense, in an order of responsibility, is not a degrading thing. My wife is literally the anchor of our family. We say it all the time. You know, if I was gone and not her, they'd be all right, right? A little bit of life insurance money and they're great. If she was gone, everything collapses. Because what she does and has and is, money can't buy. So I'm not too proud, thank the Lord, to admit that. But it doesn't mean that I should be ashamed to be a man. It doesn't mean that I have to honor every feminine dude that I walk by. But if I'm pounding my chest, you get a look. And I don't pound my chest, nor do I care to. But the point is, manhood is under attack. And at the rate we're going, if you know anything about the limbic system, that is going to be a very social distress. That's going right back to the time in the garden. Just go back 30 years to now, how things are different, right? And I'm just trying to follow the word. I don't have all the answers, but if I can go to one doctrine, one that I believe with every fabric of my being, that is going to produce goodness from it, who's to argue it, right? Who's to deny it? The same relationship values of that order go with children and parents, even bondservants and masters. In a perfect world, a bondservant and a master relationship is not a bad thing. I personally would love to be the slave and bondservant of, like, let's say Jeff Bezos, right? How awesome would that life be? I do whatever I'm told to do in the amount of time I have to do it. If I'm agreeing on the terms I get for my own free time, free room and board, I really don't have to worry about anything, maybe a little spiff. In other words, I'm helping him with my talents and having a better life that I could earn on my own. Okay, that's a very extreme version, and I have a wife and kids, and I don't want to be, but if someone could have that opportunity and they didn't have to do it forever, there are many people that would be better off being a bondservant to someone else than they would be trying to make it on their own. I know slavery is a bad thing, right? You never want to control another human being, and that's also biblical, but I mean a bond-servant situation, something temporary. In other words, two people not being equal can be very much harmonious. And my defense here is that is what makes manhood a good thing. If we're fighting wars and we're fighting to defend our family and there's anarchy in the streets, who is gonna be the one to come save the day, right? So we should honor that, whether it be a parent to a child. Nowadays, children are telling teachers to go fly a kite, and they're doing the same thing to their parents, and the parents have no power because they're all trained to believe that we're all equal, and we are not. We are certainly not. The real enemy here is not men or anyone not really being sympathetic in the culture. It's the same thing that defines the armor of God. It's putting on your armor to defend against the evil principalities, the devil around us. It's not us versus us. It's good versus evil. It's ignorance versus obedience. It's indifference versus obedience and faith. The enemy is the evil that is on this earth, and it's shifting us, and it uses our natural limbic system to slowly shift what we even see as right and wrong. And it's been happening for thousands of years. I mean, do you remember the time that you could it was honorable to grab your shield and your sword and charge a field, a hill, and literally stab people to death through their torso for the sake of the king's territory? I mean, that was high honor. That was like a cool thing to do. Could you imagine somebody getting ready for battle, knowing they're just gonna bluntly run up to somebody and stab them with a sword about 6 feet long and sever their bodies in half for the sake of land and title and territory? Like, that's ridiculous, right? So we are advancing in that way, but everything in life is cyclical. And over time, if we're not careful, we're gonna go right back to that. And enough is enough. Put on your armor, men. It is time to stand up for what is right and what is good, but do it with love. Ephesians 5, pretty much all the way through to the very end, it ends in marriage and how that looks, as Paul is speaking to the people of Ephesus. Walking in love, walking in light, and walking in wisdom. We can still carry a big stick, but we'll walk softly. Use compassion, have humility, but do not give up your manhood. Defend your manhood. We have to defend who we are as men. If not, we're going to lose the motivation to do it. Divorce rates are getting higher. It's insane. Nobody has a role. There just needs to be an order, and it's in the Bible from the very beginning. God, man, woman, beast. Everybody has their role. Every role, like the parts of the body, are important, and all should respect and honor everything in between. So that's it, guys. Our manhood is under attack, but it shouldn't. It doesn't need to, and if it keeps up this way, there'll be bigger problems. So check out Ephesians 5. I took a verse from chapter 5, verse 28, but read it for yourself and pray about it and see if your heart doesn't tell you the same thing.